Welcome to another exciting episode right here on Real Sense Now. Today we have a really exciting topic that I would love to share with you. We're talking about one of the hottest real estate markets, both domestically and internationally as well. And the city, of course, that we're talking about has just been ranked as the number one destination for real estate, both on the commercial side as well as on the residential side. And that city, of course, is no other than Miami, Florida. We often like to say it's the closest city to the United States because it's literally a world of its own. And today I'm joined by none other than Titan of Industry, the president of the commercial division at Fortune Realty, one of the largest brokerages in Miami. And he's here to share all of his wisdom and knowledge on what's happening in the market and give you a better sense of where the trends are going, what people are up to, what types of businesses are coming there, and how, more importantly, you can create generational wealth through owning real estate in one of the hottest cities in the world right now, Miami, Florida. Welcome to the show, Wolfgang Herz.
Nice to meet you. Good to see you, Dawood. I meet you many years.
I know. How many
and
years
it's
has it
like
been
too
now?
many.
Too many.
Many.
That's why I was
That
wondering
means I'm
why.
getting old. That means I'm getting old.
That's why I was wondering why you said nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you. It's just like a song, right? It's a song like Miami is. Miami is a song of excitement. I think Miami is a city, as I came there like 20 or 30 years ago, was a sleeping city, and we really kind of was a vacation hub. And today is maybe one of the most exciting cities in the world. Doesn't matter where I travel for the company with in any country of the world. You say the word Miami and everybody's excited and everybody want to be there and everybody want to know more about it. And Miami has just a very special overall appeal to many people. It's just the sunshine. We have all the sports teams you can imagine.
You pretty much have every sports team, right?
Yeah,
Soccer.
Messi now brought it to a next level, I would
course,
say.
yeah.
Everybody talks about it. Unfortunately, we lost really bad against Atlanta, but that happens. But it's exciting. We have the Miami Heat, we have the Dolphins. We are a sports town, but a sunshine town, and we are
the number one, I think, entertainment destination in the United States as well, too.
Absolutely.
I think if you're a boater, it's boater's heaven because there's so many yachts and boats and types of watercrafts that you can enjoy there. I think Miami is also probably one of the most exciting cities when it comes to fantastic restaurants that keep
Correct.
coming. And I know we're going to talk about that because you are the restaurant expert or guru.
Well, my background is food and beverage. And as I came to this wonderful country, I studied in F&B for Ritz-Carlton and Mandarin and many other brands. And I was lucky and fortunate enough that Miami went under this real estate boom. And we created Miami as one of the three major hubs for restaurants. Main hub is London, from London to Dubai and to Miami. So they are equal. So you have all the international brands, exciting brands like Zuma, Sexy Fish. For example, now as next is the Big Mama Group is coming to the US. So it's a lot of exciting.
What restaurants are under the Big Mama
Big Mama
umbrella?
is a very unique concept. It's a concept which has like 7 different brands within the group for every level. So you start with the regular trattoria to the fine dining Italian Michelin star. So it's a very exciting group, and they're coming in town and will be an excellent addition to this. So far, also Zuma brings their newest and most exciting restaurant to the US, which is Oblix.
Yeah,
Oblix,
it's a very interesting concept. There are a lot of people out there. I'm sure many of you have heard of Zuma. It's probably one of the most elevated robata sushi experiences. When it comes to Japanese fare, I think it's probably up there as the best.
The most consistent, I would say, is the most
yeah.
consistent. Is exciting. It's not a sushi restaurant. It's like you say, it's a robata restaurant. Sushi is there, but the real highlight is the robata.
Yes.
The Japanese grill,
Yes.
which is exciting, and we are rolling it out throughout the whole United States again. We have already several in the main cities, like in Boston, and New York, and Vegas. But now we're going to many other exciting cities. But Oblix, for example, being in the Shard in London is a concept which I love a lot. It's an amazing kitchen. Rainer Becker, the founder from Zuma and from Oblix.
What a fantastic guy.
Yeah, he's a great man and a real professional. And I was fortunate enough to be in touch with the best chefs in the world, from Bocuse to Joël Robuchon and many, many more. And Rainer Becker is right there. Rainer Becker with his creations is amazing.
He told
But
an
so-
amazing story at your wedding, actually, where he said he was the head chef in the same hotel that Lost in Translation was shot in. And obviously, it went off to win a number of awards and stuff like that. And he said, I was there during the time when Bill Murray was there filming and everything. And I said, so what were you cooking there? And he said, everything European food. I said, so how did you get into Japanese? It's like I was fascinated by all of my chefs and what they were able to do, that when I left Tokyo, I thought to myself, what is the next city that I can go to? And what concept would I want to open? And who would have thought a German chef and then comes to open one of the best Japanese restaurants in London, England?
It is basically the cleanliness of the Japanese with the perfection of the Germans. A combination. Me as Austrian have to give them this. So it's a great combination, absolutely. But more than this, also we have Caprice Holdings with Sexy Fish, who made an amazing restaurant in Miami.
Was that like a $26 million restaurant or something?
Well,
20,
the numbers
something like
are there. I'm not
high.
privileged to disclose it, but there are some impressive numbers. But also to see it, to go inside the atmosphere. And now we're going back to Miami. Miami is a city which has so much excitement, and I'm fortunate to work for a company called Fortune Christies International Real Estate, where we partnered with Christies like 2 years ago, because Fortune, our founder Edgardo de Fortuna, is maybe one of the drivers of the real estate in Miami. Not only that we as Fortune Christies are a marketing agency, but we also are developers ourselves. So we building, for example, right now, an amazing building in Sunny Isle with the Chateau Group called the Sun Regis, Sunny Isle.
What a great brand, what a great product.
Yeah, so we'll have also some great restaurant in there, open to the public. We're building in Brickell the Sun Regis with the Related Group of Florida. We're building now a joint venture, which is amazing, exciting, Faena.
Oh, Faena, I saw that. That's so exciting.
Faena
if you've never been to Faena, you just need to walk through that hotel for starters. And Mr. Faena had such a great vision to turn around this, 2-3 block area in like Mid Beach, and really like created an amazing experience to be in this Faena district.
You maybe don't know that now, so this is now fresh off the press. We create the Faena district in the Brickell downtown area, where Faena teamed up with Edgardo de Fortuna and Car Properties, Shahab Kamali. And they're creating the Faena district in downtown Miami, Brickell. So you will have 3-4 buildings. You will have a fantastic first Faena residence on the Miami River with a restaurant directly on the river. We just released it last week for friends and family. And we will be open to the public very soon. And it's an exciting program. It's a fantastic project. And it only shows that people like Faena, who are visionaries in the arts, in entrepreneurial things, really creating this stim and the strength of Miami, how special Miami is. The melting pot from any nationality, from Europe to Latin America to the Middle East, people from all over the world coming to Miami. For example, also some developers from Saudi Arabia will be investing in Miami. We have people investing from Dubai in Miami. So it's a lot of things going on. It's a lot of exciting groups coming. There's, for example, a restaurant group called the Ricas Group, who is coming very strong to the U.S. Miami market. And Miami, for the international groups, started to be like the first hub. Before it used to be New York many years ago, but Miami really developed when a new concept is coming. Miami is, even Broward County, Fort Lauderdale, is the places where they want to come and to explore themselves. So I think he has amazing growth. Our luxury market is booming.
It's on fire.
Yeah. We have Bezos there. We have pretty much anybody who is who coming. This also, of course, gives us a shortage on affordable housing. We need to build more affordable housing. And we have a lot of projects which are exciting and which starting at $1 million. But you and I know not everybody can afford $1 million
no, of course.
one bedroom. So, but it is still affordable in compared to many of the other major cities. And we have a shortage, for example, of really expensive units like you have in LA or you have in New York, like the $150 million penthouses whatsoever, We are not there yet, but we are coming close to make something really special.
Miami, once upon a time, used to be the waiting room to heaven. A lot of older people would move there and literally just retire and hang out. In the 90s, we saw a new wave come about. It's where all the models were hanging out, all the celebrities wanted to get away, and it was their version of the American Riviera to come and enjoy a lot of the lifestyle. A lot of the boutique hotel owners came and just really turned around these old Art Deco buildings into what it is today. And there really isn't a place that has this magical vibe, hence the reason why they call it the Magic City, right? And we've seen it evolve. We've seen new businesses, more wealth, more celebrities coming to call Miami home to take advantage of such many things like the tax shelters that we have available here, or the tax structure or tax benefits that are available in Florida that are not available in many other states. And we started to see a whole lot of development. The Miami that I remember visiting in 1998, 1999 absolutely doesn't look like the Miami today. And we also saw an even stronger wave come through during COVID, where you had a lot of New Yorkers, a lot of Chicagoans, and a lot of people from California that decided to leave and want to finally come and take advantage of all that Miami has to offer.
I think you're 100% right. I mean, the income tax situation is definitely a very, very positive thing for us. Miami, we are the closest thing to the United States, like I always say. But I think the main thing, the COVID changed, and maybe the biggest beneficiary of the COVID was Miami, or even Southeast Florida. Why? Very simple. All the owners of big companies who came themselves to Miami, and they're moving their companies here. For example, Citadel will bring tons of employees here. He will build one of the biggest buildings in Brickell, for example, and many other ones, many, very influential, very powerful, very visionary people see how much potential Miami still has. And let's be realistic. When you wake up right now, but we have now November, right? And you are in Europe, like I'm from Austria. Vienna is maybe one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
I would probably agree with that.
Yes, but I don't want to be there right now because it's
Too
gray
cold.
and it's rainy. And quite frankly, you wake up in Miami. A bad day in Miami is still better than any other day.
Yeah.
You
The
have
sun
blue
is
sky.
shining.
And if it rains for 30 minutes to an hour, and then you have again sunshine. Yeah. Sometimes even that I call my friends in other parts of Miami and say, how's the weather there? And it's raining by me and it's a beautiful weather on the other side. So it is really giving a lot of cultural lifestyle, a lifestyle of being free, a lifestyle where you can enjoy the music, the events.
There's no shortage of events.
No,
There's
there's
something
not.
to do every single day of the week.
We just finished last week the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show. We have in a couple of weeks the Art Basel,
Which is probably
the
biggest
biggest art
festival
fair
in
there
the
is.
world.
Yeah. And people will flock in from all over the place. Then we have the Miami Boat Show. Then we have the Ultra for the young people.
Or Bitcoin Week or Crypto Week or
Bitcoin
some
Week,
kind of
yes.
event. There's always something going on.
And
over
you
there.
have
Food and wine
always
festival.
some new things coming, and the sport, the entertainment, the good weather. The only thing in Miami, if your team is not good, the seats get empty because you have many other things and other choices to do.
Yeah, it's so true.
So we need to win.
So let's talk about the market and let's talk about the trends so that people can kind of get and understand. We talked about some of the factors of why Miami has gained even more popularity. What are some of the other reasons that you think Miami's popularity has driven so much of the investors and new residents to come to this top destination?
Because it is still a lot of opportunities. It's still the growth. Like I said before, to have a more affordable housing area, there's a lot of opportunities in that direction, because a lot of the buildings was built in the 60s. There are maybe 2 or 3 stories, and the zoning allows them to build like 18, 20 stories. So a lot of the developers are focusing now also in this part of the investment. So multifamily gets stronger and stronger. Industrial in Miami is very strong because we have a limited space. But generally speaking, it flattens out in other parts of the state because there is still a lot of land. But Miami has limited amount of land. So here our challenge, the industrial ratings are kind of balancing out. The luxury segment is very strong. I mean, luxury is what people like. Branding is very big. We have a lot of branded units. We
Branded units. You guys have a brand for everything out there. There's buildings after cars, like the Porsche building, the Aston Martin building, the Bentley building.
Yes, but people think it's only the brand, but actually the brands get involved. For example, Porsche, as Mr. Teaser made the Porsche Tower. Porsche is so efficient. They give the aerodynamic information. The building was built to have almost no wasted space. Aston Martin Tower, same thing. The design of the Aston Martin, the flow, the wind flow, is quite amazing. So
It's like a beautiful sail,
yeah.
actually. Yeah.
The Armani Tower, just finished the Armani Tower in Sunny Isle. Armani actually designed the areas,
Interiors, yeah.
and you was even able for your own unit to use him for design. So it's not only that we brand it; it's more than this. It's giving more value, giving more excitement to it. The customers can choose better; they can be directed better, and you don't have the same unit on every floor. So everybody has a little bit of different style, and that way you have a more comparables, but also more excitement.
Depends on what your area of interest is as well too. I mean, a lot of the designers are co-branding, a lot of the fashion designers, let me rephrase, are co-branding a lot of the new developments that are coming up. The Dolce Gabbana building, that's probably one of the most exciting buildings coming up, and one of the tallest, I believe, right?
This will be one of
Yeah.
the tallest. The taller one is the Waldorf
Waldorf
Astoria,
Astoria, such a beautiful building as well too. How many stories is that?
but it's close to 100.
That's crazy. 100 stories.
Well,
Wow.
it's still 40 stories less than some other buildings in other cities.
I know. So true.
So the ceiling is still not reached.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I know Miami keeps outpacing itself over and over again. And I guess the question I want to ask is, with all of this growth that's happening, how do you foresee the market shaping up in the coming years?
Well, one thing happens in moment, we have to be realistic too. We had a very unfortunate incident in Miami with a building which collapsed. So a lot of these older buildings who was built in the late 50s, 60s, 70s, who didn't do maintenance, who didn't take care about their buildings, started to be a risk. This risk is effect on it was that we have to increase the HOA fees because the law required us now to put funds for repairs and maintenance in place.
And reserves.
And reserves. So now the HOA fee is going very high. So many people who came for many years to Florida are faced now with an increased HOA fee, which is normal. If you do like a house, you have to put money on the side to get a new roof. If you have your own private residence, you need to make loan improvements on. And some of these condo associations didn't do that. And now they have a big spike on HOA. Now, what that reflects is, of course, that there's opportunities for developers, because when the HOA fees go very high, some of these people will be not inclined to sell their property. And that gives us the opportunity to build newer properties and hurricane-resistant properties. We do face the hurricanes, like we experienced not too long ago also here in Orlando. But I think that everything happens for positive. And with the growth, you have to understand when Citadel or other big companies or Google or whoever is moving to Miami with an extensive amount of employees, we're talking about 33,000 people moving to Florida a day. That's what the statistics say. So, and a lot of them come to Southeast Florida. And with the big companies moving talents from New York, from Chicago, from LA, from San Francisco to Miami, that will also need to have improvements. We already started with the Brightline, the speed tram who comes all the way to Orlando, but stops in different cities in Miami, the tree train. So we are a little bit late, but we started to do public transportation. But alongside of these stops, there will be more and more affordable properties getting built. We are very, very strong pushing also the developers, including ourselves, to look into that field stronger. Related has a very, very good program, for example. Terra has a very good program, and many other. So a lot of the different developers see the needs to make sure that the HOAs get controllable in these units, But in the same time speaking, the increase of construction activities in Miami especially gives also a certain process, and they're still needed. We're talking about a lot of people moving to Florida, and it's not only the executives, it's also the regular people like us, some like us. And we need to have them also. We need to increase the salary structures in South Florida the last couple of years. So we're increasing everything. We're trying to get more employees, more talents. We need to make sure the talent is very well trained in every aspects. We are multicultural, but we're also multi-language. Like in my team, we have almost 32 languages. My team alone, and this is only a part of Fortune Christies, we have French, we have English, we have some Mexican, we have Chinese, we have Russian, we have Ukrainian. So we have the whole world, and giving this helps, of course, to increase the appeal for the city and also make sure that the price appreciation in the condos is going up.
Absolutely. So what other industries or sectors you believe are bringing the most economic growth to South Florida, Miami-Dade area?
Of course, cruising industry. The cruising industry is maybe the capital for the two biggest cruise ports is Fort Lauderdale as well as Miami.
And just seems like it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And the ship's getting bigger and bigger and more fantastic than ever. We're talking about, for example, the Icon of the Seas for the Royal Caribbean. Yeah, amazing ship. I mean, incredible.
I feel like every year they come up with a bigger one than the last one. When we were on our cruise together, I think it was one of the biggest at the time, and then the year after they came up with an even bigger one.
Well, I'm a big fan from cruises, like you know. I've worked for many years myself on them, but it's incredible how much the cruising industry, the impact it has. If you think about Royal Caribbean has, I think, 42 plus ships alone. Carnival Corporation, the same. And in the port of Miami and the Everglades, you have a day, usually 3 to 5 ships turning over, around 20,000 people a day.
That's crazy.
Minimum. So 20,000 people need food, drinks, anything. They're coming to the city. They have airline transportation. They have transportation. They have tours. They're bringing a huge impact on this industry. So this is the leisure industry. Then you have all the conventions. Miami building in the moment a huge convention center. The one in Miami Beach is just finished. The other one in downtown is under construction. You have one in Wynwood. So like you said before, from the cryptocurrency events to all kind of Facebook events, name it, they're coming to Miami because it's just a vibrant city, especially now in the winter month. It's not many cities you can make events where you have a weather guarantee. And then, of course, it's not to underestimate the mining industry. We have a huge mining. We have a huge agriculture industry in Florida. We're bringing now the finance world. And I think this is the game changer. New York is moving to Miami. So I always said before it even happened that Miami is New York, Manhattan with the sunshine. But now the companies are coming here. The companies bringing the wealth of banking, investments to the city. So the continuous growth. I heard over the last 20 years as I started to be in this industry, and I come from hospitality. Oh, Miami will take down, and you know, we have far too much built, and we don't. Of course, some people making money when the market goes down, but I don't see a decline at all. I mean, you have in a moment by the older properties a realistic pricing, I would consider it. After COVID, people just ask whatever they wanted to ask. There is now an understanding where the properties are, what is the market. We still have a steady increase. Partial of it is, of course, when we as developers are buying land, we're paying a lot of money, $20 million, $30 million per acre. And that, of course, reflects on we need to go higher, we need to get better, we need to get special. So all of this said, we need to make sure the city is continuously improving themselves. And the new buildings are built like resistant to any natural disasters you can possibly think of. And I think we're getting more. Miami, for example, Ford Motor Company I rented for them 6-7 years ago, a warehouse where they mapped the whole Miami city. Miami will be one of the first cities who will be driverless cars for Ford Motor Company. They bought a company and they're mapping it since 6-7 years.
So, with this influx of tech and finance companies coming to Miami, how have you seen it affect the commercial real estate part of this market?
Well, first of all, the retail is high. We have very high expectation from the landlords because they see that the restaurants making some incredible sales. It is not easy to make a deal in moment for a mom and pop operator. If you're mom and pop and you come to the city, between the construction cost, the time it takes to build a restaurant, for example, it takes time. It costs money. Miami is not a cheap city to build, unfortunately. I think there's a lot of things we can improve in Miami. And I personally work very hard to try to change that, because I think the city of Miami need to be, even in many ways, they are pro-business, but they can do be better. There is, I think, a way to improve everything from permitting to processes to make sure that we can open a retail or a restaurant on time, so the landlord is happy, the tenant is happy, and the people are happy. Because on the end of the day, the government will make the money. Yeah. Because if you open a place, then you pay taxes.
For
the
sure.
You pay taxes, you are happy.
Well, I'm not happy, but everybody else is happy. So what types of commercial properties do you feel are probably the highest in demand? So if I'm an investor looking to come and see you and want to pick up some commercial properties, and let's say money was not an issue, what sectors, what areas, what should I be looking at? Should I be looking at office buildings, hotels, restaurants, retail?
We have in the moment a tremendous amount in difference to the rest of the country on office. The office rents are extreme high in Class A and Class B product, with the growth of the different companies coming to Miami. So there is definitely a trend. Shopping centers on 5-6% cap rates. You have a very steady and very, very, very exciting, stable growth. Industrial is also in the sense of land, but you have to make your numbers well. You have to know how you build to make it worth. And then multifamily. I think multifamily in the moment is still a very strong growth potential, and also a sampling areas, a sampling land. Land is land. And if you're able to invest in what is today a 4-plex, 6-plex, whatever, and smaller buildings in certain areas, I do a lot of things in the moment, sampling areas, working with international, national investors to bring the things together and be able to increase the amount of units we can build on this place.
So if you were to give a really great piece of advice for someone considering investing in Miami, what advice would you give an investor looking to capitalize in this market in Miami's current real estate landscape?
Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more real estate tips and market insights. Your support means the world to me, so don't forget to click the bell icon so you can never miss an update.
What advice would you give an investor looking to capitalize in this market in Miami's current real estate landscape?
I believe the multifamily is absolutely, and also healthcare. So anything close to Miami, which I forgot to mention before, is maybe the most important health city for the Latin American world. So the health areas and the health district, like around the Jackson Hospital, this is all areas, any of the hospitals surrounding, they need from hotel investments, they need from multifamily investments, retail investments. The good thing in Miami in the moment is there's actually no sector which has not a growth potential. It's only to have the right professionals, to have the right understanding, and to also understand numbers. It's not an emotion sell. If I sell you a condo, my team sells a condo, it's a view, it's a lifestyle, it's emotion. You do commercial, you need to know numbers. You need to listen and make sure that you have the right people supporting you. And there's many great professionals in Miami who are professionals. We have a lot of real estate agents, but you need to build the right team. I think the team to make sure that you have the right information, the execution, and to make sure you have the people who understand the different aspects from construction to maintenance to acquisition. You need to have the whole package together. And there's many great companies around. I think we proved ourselves over the years that we can help many investors. And the team needs to be together.
You've touched on so many great points and so many great areas. There's definitely a specialization that is needed in each and every one of these key sectors when it comes to investing or even partaking in any aspect of this real estate, whether you're opening a new restaurant or have a new retail location that you want to expand into. But the surprising change in this market is how pricing, especially in the ultra luxury market, has gone through the roof. How has this demand for luxury real estate changed Miami, in your opinion, over the last few years?
Well, look, today's world, we have a lot of people who are making a lot of money. But you also have more people want to have lifestyles. It's all about lifestyle. It's about be giving more than just a condo. It is the amenities you build in, the execution of the amenities is about who want to meet who. You have, for example, von Zaha Hadid, her last building was built in Miami.
It's
and
fantastic
you
building.
you have Mr. Beckham and many other celebrities living in there, and you have a certain ambiente and you have a certain surrounding of yours. In today's world and in the US, we are all looking for doing better. And in the same time speaking, we want to spend time in a place we feel comfortable with. What means luxury products? Luxury products usually means that we have bigger balconies, we have better living room areas, we have more amenities, we have not a building who just is 2 years standing. No, it will be for a long time. It should be timeless. And doesn't matter in what political area you feel, Miami is a melting point. So you have everybody from every interest groups in Miami, and it's a place to also get to know each other, to find a way to deal with each other, and to have an economic influence in the whole game of economic futures.
I think if there's one area that hasn't been able to catch up with the influx of people moving to Miami is better schooling. And I think that's a major challenge for a lot of companies that are relocating to Miami, because if you're going to go to a great school, you're more than likely only going to be able to go to a private school. And they just don't have enough to support all the people that are coming.
Unfortunately, that's a trend worldwide. I mean, I can tell you, I'm heavily involved in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Even there, we have the challenge that the influence of the different nationality moving in the area makes the public schools usually not, the level is not as high. And if you want to have an Ivy League school sooner or later for your kids, you do have to put in private school. But this is not only for the US. I can tell you, Austria, we have one of the best school systems there is. But you have to put also in Austria now the people in private schools, because with the influence of having different nationality moving to the country, the language barrier is already starting. And, this is a fact of life. I think the world is more open. We're moving far more all over the world from different nationalities, different languages. And to create the best schools, you need to have space. But I have to say, we do have a strong effort in Miami to build schools. We have, for example, in Doral. Doral was an area where there was not really any strong schools. And they created 2-3 very, very strong schools over there. And we always had the top schools in Miami, private schools in the Coconut Grove area, right. Coral Gables area. Miami-Dade has several schools by Miami Shores, El Portal, which are very high. But you're right that we need to do a better job to have them all over the place and create them better. But FIU, for example, has exploded. The FIU, really, the South and the North Campus, really did an excellent job to get more intellectual trained people here. So you have people from New York, from Chicago, teachers, professors who moved here. And, obviously, in that sense, University of Miami is a strong university. But you're right. I mean, we still have a long way to go. I think we can do better. But with the people coming who come for the public schools will be always a challenge. It will be a challenge because when you have multi-language kids from all over the world, it is not easy to have them in the same level all the time. So this is a thing. One of our biggest issues we have in Florida is really the three things we cannot control. The first one is the hurricanes.
It's funny that you're going in this direction because that's exactly where I was going to go.
I know you, but I can read your mind by now. So we need to also
let's address that because investors do ask me all the time, and they say, well, what about the hurricanes in Florida? And of course, being in Orlando, we are in the middle and the heart of the state, so we definitely do not get the impact that a lot of coastal regions find. So how is Miami addressing these environmental concerns, especially with rising sea levels and, of course, hurricanes?
Well, let's go to the number one, hurricanes. So obviously, we're building a lot of high-rise, and we're kind of pushing the wind away from us in one way or other. That scientifically speaking, I'm involved in a lot of studies and so on. And even the Hurricane Andrew basically went down to Homestead. He first would have come to downtown, but with our high buildings creating almost against pressure, he went all the way to Homestead. It was not a good thing in that time, many, many years ago, but it also brought prosperity for developments. Hurricanes is something we will not change, and the weather is changing all over the world. You have people having snow who never had snow. You have people having no snow who had always snow. So the climate change is definitely something, unfortunately, you and me, we only can be a very small part of changing that. What the science say and what the political, I never like to listen too much to the political people, but I like to listen to science. There is for sure things is changing, no question about it. All of us, we all have cars, we all fly, we all do this, we heat and this. Or it is a heating or a cold, that's not up to me to decide, but it definitely, the hurricanes, what we do against the hurricanes, we're building better buildings. We're building stronger buildings. We make sure that the impact for our residents, the backup generators, and everything is in place. The negative with any hurricane doesn't matter where it hits to Florida. Now, for example, the last one went to Tampa, and I had actually, I was supposed to be on that day in Tampa, looking at some developments and some restaurant opportunities. And I had to change. I was halfway to Tampa and I turned around and went back to Miami. But I went in 4 days after the hurricanes there, and I saw some major demolition. But we all affected in the insurance costs. Of course, insurance is very hard.
Very challenging.
It's very challenging, and because it gets pushed over to the condos, it gets pushed over to the housing. When you have a house, you can choose if you have insurance or not. If you have a condo, you have no choice. Right. You have to pay. So the HOA going higher. So this is something we have to live with. Obviously, in the same time speaking, our rental rates are continuously rising. So that's for the investors who are buying properties to rent. The rental market is extremely strong. The prices are going up, not necessarily to the liking of everybody, but for the investors, definitely they like it. You have some very, very good cap rates in that area if you do it as an investment. The other challenge we have really is the economic uncertainties from certain areas, but we are not as affected as many other areas of the United States. We have a healthy immigration. We have a healthy growth, and that helps us to really be on top of the economic crisis which are in other parts of the country.
But we've also experienced a slowdown in our real estate market over the last year with rising interest rates. How have you seen the Miami real estate market being affected by these rates? And more importantly, What do you expect moving forward?
Well, the funny thing is also we just got a study from Miami-Dade. We actually didn't have this issue. We have a lot of cash buyers from all over the world. Our developments are booming. We are building one building after the other. Our company alone, we represent over 24 different buildings, and the majority of them are sold out or more than 80% sold out already. The housing market is extremely strong. Even the interest rate was high, but people didn't mind to finance a house in that time because they say, okay, I will refinance in 2 years. Everything was driven really by the election. Look, it's over now. We know in what direction it is going. There's no more uncertainty going this way or that way.
There's definitely a lot more promise when it comes to how this real estate market is going to turn around as well too.
It's like I said, Miami was lucky either way in the moment, and here in Orlando you have a lot of land still here. We don't have that much land in Miami. We don't have that much areas we can expand to. So Miami is a area where we was very steady. I mean, I'm doing deals all over the state and even the country, but I have to say Miami it's still a market which is only growth. It's growth. The key is, can you get a product which is needed, and can you get it for the price to build it, to make sure it makes economic sense for the builder.
So let's talk about that. We've talked about exorbitant pricing for land purchases in order to build these kind of towers. You mentioned a major concern, which is affordability. The average working person will find it very challenging to be able to buy a place, and therefore a lot of people rent over there. But as this becomes a growing concern, how do you think Miami is going to address this affordability issue? I mean, are we talking about going all the way west? Are we talking about going out of?
No, it's not necessary to go all the way west. It's not necessary to go east. And there's certain areas of Miami which has potential to be redeveloped for affordable housing. And as I told you before, even with Brightline and so on, alongside the area, there's still areas which is, for example, Apalaca. There is Little Havana. There is Liberty City. There is Miami Gardens. So there's still areas which are, the important thing for affordable housing is transportation. Because people need to be able, and that's where the city of Miami is doing a lot of things to plan to get more transportation, easy transportation for the people who do not have cars or do not want to use the cars. And that helps a lot. We have some people who work in Miami, but they live in Fort Lauderdale and they're taking the Brightline every day or the Tree Rail. We have people who live in the areas of Biscayne in the middle of Miami, and they're using the Tree Rail to come to downtown. We have people who from Dateland all the way from the south coming down from the areas like Kendall. Now, there's in every area, the developers do build some things which is housing for 55 and older. There is housing for affordable. There's market rate. There is we have all kind of things. We know we cannot have only millionaires in Miami. That would be kind of, the millionaires would be very hungry. But the diversity growth of the city helps. The cultural vibrance of the city helps. And you do have still areas which has the zoning allows you to do a better product where you do not have to pay $20 million for an acre, so that the numbers can work. And also the construction costs. Through the COVID, of course, construction costs went very high. Like because steel got more expensive and everything. But they are not balancing.
Lumber prices went up by 300%.
Yeah. And they're coming down. We believe that with the changes now, I mean, look at just now the Bitcoin, I think, went up over 82,000 whatever. So Miami is a robust market. We know we have to do something for the workers. We have to do something for our staff. We have to make sure that everybody has a forward, but there is no bad area in Miami anymore. There is not an area is not to go to. So it made a lot of cleanup. We have a lot of, it's a very clean city now in compared to many years ago.
I love that you touched on community and the culture of Miami, because Miami is so unique. You have visionary developers that have come in and gentrified areas like the Design District, like Wynwood, that were at one point in time essentially, shoe warehouses or clothing warehouses and stuff like that, and turned it into something incredibly dynamic, where a lot of art, culture, restaurants all become intertwined in creating an incredibly unique lifestyle. I mean, let's talk about Wynwood. I think Wynwood is probably the largest graffiti district in the world. And you can see how things are changing now as well, too, with new developments, new hotels, new buildings. How would you describe Miami's culture and its influence on real estate?
Well, obviously, you have every single interest group coming into Miami, and the arts and entertainment industry, the alternative industry. Doesn't matter who you have. And when you look at Wynwood, we building buildings there which are affordable. We building them. They are maybe not as large anymore. They maybe don't have balconies anymore, but people can afford them. And many young people, they don't really care about cooking anymore. They're liking Uber Eats and Grubhub, and the kitchen is almost not anymore a main driver. When you go to New York, go to New York. I lived in New York for 4 years. My one bedroom, I could wash, rinse, and sanitize in the same time. It was so small, right? It was 300 square foot. It will happen in Miami too, that from the spacious apartments we used to have, that the units getting smaller. We're having a big trend of properties were between 350 to 400, 500 square foot only. So that was not before in Miami. So we had to adjust, obviously. So you can sell these things for $200,000, $300,000, and you can have a starter home. And that will be always. When you finish your college, you have to pay off your student loans, and in the same time speaking, the young people, a lot of young people have a different lifestyle. The people who lives in Wynwood is people who like to be not at home. They like to be out. They like to be in the bars. They like to be in the pubs. They like to be in with other people. They like to see art. They like to be more in entertainment. We have a lot of live, work, and play apartment now, where artists, musicians, podcasters doing their own shows from home. So it's a lot of home-based businesses arriving, and a lot of young people have a lot of great ideas to how to make money. I'm still old school. I have to touch it and feel it and do it, but brick and mortar, so to speak. But I'm amazed. I have clients who are 22, 24, 25 years old. The first apartment I sold him was $200,000. A year later, I sold him one for $1.2 million. He had the right idea, right time. And today, in the world of podcasting and social media, Facebook, influencers, name it, there's a lot of different things. But also, I see it in my own son. My son, 23, he's not money driven, but he's lifestyle driven. So he likes to be in places where he has people around him, and the COVID stopped us all to be disconnected, and people realize it's not as fun to be disconnected all the time. And so you have this trend, and people hanging out again. And Miami is a city, I think, one of the few cities in the world during the COVID where we had very easy in compared to other cities what we was able to do. And
it didn't feel like there was any kind of COVID going on in Miami.
It was for 2 or 3 weeks, but that's about it. I didn't stop one single day, because obviously what we do, we was in the accepted people. So we had to actually, because nobody knew what will happen. I don't want to even make a statement. My beliefs is my beliefs, but I think it was a place where we, in one way, we still suffer throughout the United States or the world, because this 1.5 years been many countries who stopped production.
Absolutely.
Think about a company like Volkswagen from Germany, which is one of the biggest car companies in the world. Audi, Lamborghini, that belongs all to them, Bentley. And they're getting in a crisis. Why? Because now this 1.5 years from COVID is missing. And all of a sudden, there's a problem. So I'm not only in the US, I'm all over the world. I see the different aspects of impacts. We are selling our real estate all over the world. I'm traveling all over the world. I try to have the pulse on majority. We have very good people working with us. I have brokers in Canada. I have brokers in Latin America. I have brokers in all over the place who give us the information and to make sure that we have the trends. We see, politically speaking, the whole world is in a very unfortunate situation that nobody really knows who, what, when, and where. But I think all of this still will have effect. It helps Miami again, because, for example, the tech hub, we are ended to be a real tech hub for, Google is coming, Microsoft is coming. So it's very funny. You have so many diversity. So you have like the Google and the Microsoft boys and the ones who are very casual. Then you have the investment bankers who suit and tie, and then you have the people who have the sports people who want to be whatever they want to be. So you have all aspects of the field, and having in this the neighborhoods distinguish themselves from each other. So Wynwood having the arts and more free and spirit, and the modern city, similar like in Soho in New York. Then you have Brickell, which is like the Manhattan, where you have all the restaurants, where you have all the hotels, where you have all the entertainment, where you have the finance world. So, but in the end of the day, Miami is a very small city.
It is, actually. I think Orlando is bigger than Miami in terms of landmass.
Well, it took me a while to understand Orlando, and I still don't understand it. But especially what I do to place restaurants and hotels somewhere, Orlando is still a challenge for me. I'm maybe not smart enough,
don't worry.
But I will find it. So
I'll help you. I'm pretty sure after being here for so long doing real estate, I'm probably a good real estate expert or authority for the Orlando area, at least.
But when you have like Orlando, like Winter Park is like Coral Gables.
Yes.
You have you can place it, but in Miami, from the very southern part to the very northern part, you have less than 48 minutes car drives. Of course, without traffic.
Yes.
But you can be even 30 minutes. But really, between Edgewater, Brickell, South Miami, Miami Beach, and Coral Gables, is 20 minutes in any direction. So it's a very, very small city, but has that distinguished atmospheres and buildings.
Absolutely. You touched on a number of really exciting things, and I know your finger is always on the pulse for all things new, all things trendy. In your opinion, what are some of the most exciting developments or projects that are underway that you're aware of that will shape Miami's future?
Well, a lot of projects we already represent and we will release shortly. But the one I can talk about is, for example, Faena. Faena, the new Faena district in Brickell downtown, will create a massive artsy vibe for the downtown area. You will have a lot of excitement in that respective. Our waterways will get more explored. Alongside the Miami River, you have maybe some of the most exciting restaurants open. After Kiki on the river and Sea Salt, you have now many, many restaurants coming. I was just in Casa Neo for the Miller Group. Excellent thing. You will have a great additions on the river.
Yeah, Bagatelle is opening across the street.
There's a lot
the
of
list goes on and on.
The list goes on, and for a major food group is involved with one whole project. Right. I'm lucky enough to have a couple of projects running myself, which we are working on, and we are very close to it. We have the main thing is that it's a continuous growth. It's a continuous growth. The mixture of age groups in Miami, from the young to the old ones like me, we have a great surroundings. Of course, we still love to play our golf, so our golf courses. Now the Freedom Tower project will be amazing. And of course, the Miami FC with Mr. Beckham and Messi and friends, the Moss family, we're creating by the Miami airport, maybe the Freedom Park. And this will be it's a tremendous project. As hard it is for me, because I really like Melrose Golf Course, but I think it will be a tremendous project. We have, for example, a sport is exploding in Miami and throughout the US now, but especially Miami, is paddle. The paddle courts popping up, and it's a great sport because you can socialize and you can do a lot of things. So
And it's a
pickleball,
little bit easier than tennis.
it's not only easier than tennis, but it's more
Interactive and more fun.
interactive, more fun, and actually it's more, you need to be a better athlete actually, because by tennis you can rest, by paddle you cannot rest because the glass wall is pushing it back to you all the time. But there's a lot of good things happening, and I think it's a continuous trying to understand what people want. We're spending hours and hours and even days to create something. We are involved as a company in a moment in one of the first, it's not the first, but one of the most exciting yachts, a condo yacht.
What? Tell me about this. This I have to hear. What do you mean condo yacht? So like a condo, like a place that you can stay, like an apartment on the water?
Correct. There was one called The World, was created many years ago, I think 15 years ago. But now there's a new project coming online. I cannot disclose so far the name, but later on I can release this to you. But
you'll tell me after the show.
It will be exciting project, which is the trend. People want to be at sea also, not only on land. So the yacht business is getting huge. We have in a moment, I told you the boat show. So the yachts get bigger and bigger and bigger. But now this will be a condo, and you will be able to buy a condo and have all the medical and all the things you cannot believe. I mean, the project will be amazing. However, the price point is also not for anybody. It will start in $10 million for one bedroom.
One bedroom for $10 million?
Yeah, but you need to put everything in perspective, because you will have the same like a condo, all the amenities. So, for example, there's some people who made a reservation who have their own 200-feet yachts, but they don't have a medical treatment on it. They don't have the hospital on it. So this ship will have everything. They will have 2 helicopters, and then one of these shows we will make a separate little announcement on this, but it's a very special product.
I love it. So as we start to wrap up and really kind of talk about the future outlook for what Miami is, we both work with a lot of investors, and we've seen the demographic and the profile of the investor change over time. Do you anticipate any shifts in the investor demographic that will be coming to Miami? Do you think they're going to be younger? Do you think there's going to be a lot more older people coming? Where do you see the shift happening?
I think that the younger people will go more and more in real estate, because the younger people, they're doing Bitcoin, they're doing trading, they're more like computer savvy. But I think they will realize that you need to have a good portfolio. So you should have a third, right? You should have a third in stocks, you have a third in real estate, and a third in other business investments you can do. So the balance. So this is a progressive learning process of all of us. Same thing for me as I was young, but now more extreme. I think that people have to have a balanced investment portfolio. I was driving yesterday in Winter Park on a boat tour, and the guy pointed out that the 28-year-old billionaire who made his money in Bitcoin or something like that, he said, bought one of these beautiful mansions over here. And the same thing in Miami. You have I think the younger demographics will be more active, and the older demographic will be more on the institutional investments. What I mean with that is that the younger guys will pay maybe a couple of condos, will maybe they're starting with condos and going then maybe in houses, where the older investors, they're doing more the shopping centers and the multifamily, but they have healthy balance. What we see is I just since the election is over, I got a lot of phone calls now the last couple of days from developers from Canada, developers from Europe, from Middle East, who actually want to invest again in the US. And I think very strong with the current election of the current president that many international companies will be looking into investing in the US to have manufacturing. I think a big part of the future for investors is to look very closely into international companies who will produce in the US. Because our future president already announced that he wants to tax the people who don't produce in the US. And I personally got already several phone calls in that direction where companies who will looking to manufacture in the US. So
I think there's definitely going to be a really interesting time ahead of us. We're seeing that more and more baby boomers that are retiring are letting go of their businesses or starting to sell their businesses to a younger demographic. There's going to be a lot of wealth transference from, older people that move on and have passed on their fortunes that they've created over the course of their life to the younger generation. And I really believe that even though it's been challenging for a lot of younger people to be able to enter the real estate market because of affordability issues and stuff like that, with this help, we're going to definitely start to see more inheritance of real estate. And depending on what the lifestyle is going to be, you see, remote work really changed the landscape of how people live, how people interact, the lifestyle. That's why you're seeing all of these amazing restaurants, these concepts, these entertainment places, and more people are starting to gravitate towards relocating to these places because of that. I truly believe that our youth is going to be the ones that are going to start to change the face of what real estate looks like, whether it's going to smaller units, whether it's working remotely at an Airbnb in an exotic location. I think all of these factors when it comes to lifestyle, because life imitates art, art mimics life at the same time. And we're beginning to see this change on a lifestyle perspective as well too.
But you also see that high-profile acquisitions. Also, a lot of high-profile, high-money acquisitions are happening continuously. So you see more and more growth. Family offices are investing heavily. But I'm a firm believer. So with the next 4 to 5 years will be a growth of international companies will invest in the US. Forced or not forced, however you want to see that. But I think the made in America will be getting bigger and bigger. I believe that with this also will be the cities will benefit who will allow to get also qualified people. Because not only that you put a factory, let's say, somewhere in the middle of Florida, you need to get also your qualified workers to want to live there. Right. So this is then Orlando, or this is then Miami, or this is then the West East Coast or Texas. There's a lot of places, but they need to also make sure they have the qualified workers. We did face for a while that I make it simple, food and beverage, especially food and beverage, is driving many times the market. It's a clear indicator what is happening. And when you have a restaurant who has 150, 200 employees, who has to have qualification, this is not just to flip a burger. This has to really be cooks. And they need to live somewhere, and they need to bring their family somewhere, and they need to bring their school somewhere. So there is what the cities, the countries, the state has to do to attract them. And to make sure that we have the affordable housing available, make sure that we have the right transportation available. And what the young people really like is live, work, and play. That means they don't want to drive 1.5 hours to work. They want to be close where they work. So even we old people do the same thing. But that's why it's also Miami so unique, because we are so close to everything. So that's why, but again, I think since we do from Pompano to Jupiter to Naples to Orlando, we're working in all the markets, Tampa. I think there's tremendous growth opportunities in South Florida, same like in Texas. I think there's tremendous amount of, because about the infrastructure. You have the shipping, you have the airlines, you have the transportation, you have the connectability, you have the language skills. So you have a lot of things in South Florida that many people have and many states don't have. So that's why I think the growth will be tremendous. I think in the industrial part, there is some great opportunities. Even in transportation, hospitality, food and beverage, finance. So there's a lot of growth. And I think for the investors who are looking at the different aspects, and there's tons today, you can Google pretty much anything you want to Google.
Right.
And if you really put your hands on the pulse and you spend time to evaluate, and that's what we do. It's not only that we build buildings or we sell restaurants. We do this. We're trying to be what is the trends? What is the long trends? I don't look at things for next year. I'm looking already things for 2029, 30, 31, 32, 33. So you need to think. It's a different thinking. We need to be having people like you who share the experience with the people. You have to have professionals who are proud what you're doing. And you need to get the government to support it, to make it business friendly. And then the growth will happen by itself. My father, who was in development his whole life, he rebuilt after the Second World War Vienna, said, my son, you want to know how good a city is? Look how many grains you see. When you see grains, that means the area is growing. You see no grains, that means, and I don't know a grain, the grain, then it means that they have a problem. So construction is a clear indicator of wealth and of future growth. And if we are conscious and we are helping the younger generation as well as the older generation to understand the market better, to see what is their opportunities, what is their investment skills, how they want to, and the good real estate brokers and the good real estate advisors and financial advisors, they will tell you the both. I believe, I would say I have no film. I worked for Ritz-Carlton, so I had to be always very proper. But I say the way it is. I have no time to waste anybody's time. I want to make sure the message is clear. You need to understand the negatives, then you can deal with the positives, and you make sure anybody can tell you everything is wonderful. But you need to be also realistic. What is your capability to do the investment? Because you have to hold it. And happy customers is far harder to find new customers than when you have a customer you make happy and they keep on working with you
all the time.
Absolutely.
I really thank you for being a guest on the show. This has been a really incredible experience because we really touched on so many different asset classes, lifestyle, the future, where Miami is going, what the investor profile looks like. And there's people that ask me all the time whenever I travel internationally, what cities should I be investing in? Should I be going to Miami? Should I go to Orlando, Tampa, Naples, wherever the case may be? If there was one piece of advice that you could advise someone looking to move or to invest in Miami, what would it be?
Make sure you hire a person who listens to you and understands your needs. Because it's always a personality. You and I, we know each other many years and we talked about it, that when I travel around the world and when we do what we do, we have to look not what is today, we have to look what is tomorrow, but we also need to understand the needs. And many in our profession, unfortunately, don't listen what the customer wants. They want to tell them what they want. Now, you should tell what you think is your best, but you should also listen to the customer. You need to make sure that the customer has his needs satisfied. Because if we would be all the same, we would be robots, and we are not robots as yet. So I think the advice I give you is that choose where you want to live, where you feel the best, and make sure that the people surrounding you are the people you want to be around. And be selective with who you trust, and interview them. Interview them, see really what they know, what they don't know. Like in everything, there's a lot of pretenders, and there's people who actually spend a lot of hours to learn and to listen and to go to seminars and advance themselves. School don't stops when you get your degree. School stops every day. Every day you have to learn, every day you have to think, and like the Chinese, you never stop. The day you stop, is the end of your existence.
Thank you once again for being such an incredible guest. You're more than welcome to come on the show whenever you can. And I really enjoy our friendship, our company, your mentorship, and really how you've also helped me and my clients over the last decade or so of knowing each other, making sure that they're in the right investment, they're in the right communities, they're in the right office buildings, retail spaces, whatever it is. And I really look forward to our continued success, bringing a lot of very exciting projects, which I can't tell you just yet, to a lot of great cities in Miami and Orlando alike. So thank you for being a guest, and I can't wait to have you back on the show.
It was great to be here. Thanks to Real Sense Now. And Dawood, always, I think that you're doing an amazing job, and to share your wealth of knowledge and to get the right people to help you to create something interesting for the people and to make sure that our business is growing and people are happy.
Thank you once
Thank
again.
you.
Appreciate it. You checked out a really exciting episode right here on Real Sense Now. Of course, it's your host, Dawood Bedrosian. Tune into this episode and many more episodes that we have. If you liked what you saw, my only favor and request that I can ask of you is to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend so that maybe they can benefit from some of these pearls of wisdom that our guests have to share and offer our audience alike worldwide. Thank you once again. It's your host, Dawood Bedrosian. Thank you for tuning into Real Sense Now.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more real estate tips and market updates. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so that you never miss an update again. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover, drop me a comment below. I'm Dawood Bedrosian, and I'll see you in the next video.